Had the worst fantasy fucking week in week 7. I don't even want to talk about this shit, but we're going to talk about it, man. What's going on, fantasy world? It's your boy, Hot Soup. More like cold soup. I'm bringing you week 7, I told you so. Or shall I say, the clown show. I wore this jersey today, Christian McCaffrey. Special episode coming to you all the way from down here in Tampa, Florida. I wore this uniform for all you clowns that went out there and drafted Christian McCaffrey with the number 1 pick. We are heading into week 8, and this guy still has not played a down. And this goes for all you clowns, including myself, who went out and grabbed Christian McCaffrey in every league I had with the number 1 pick, which was 3. And that man is in my IR spot, and he's been sitting in my IR spot. And to you and everybody else who made that decision, the Madden curse is real. Who knows when we're going to get Christian McCaffrey back? At first, he was going to be playing week 1. Then it was week 3. Then it was we might not see him for the rest of the season. Then 2 weeks later, there's no flare-ups, and it looks like he's running on flat ground. Who knows who's telling the truth? We don't know. We some damn clowns. And I'm going to call this the clown show today because I had so many people in my inbox on my comment section saying this. I had one guy come on. He said, this ain't no fantasy show. This the clown show. And in my mind, it hurt. It hurt me deep because I do this. And I've been 70% all year long. And in week 6, I flopped. And in week 7, I flopped worse. It's like a case of having Isaiah Likely on my team. Blew up in week 1. And from then on out, in week 7, Hot Soup falling to his destruction. We always go over top 5 starts, top 5 sits every single week. And then we go over how we fared off in this episode of The Clown Show. In week 7, I have must start, top on the list, J.K. Dobbins. I had J.K. Dobbins going off for 2 tutties yesterday. That man scored 0. I had him for 25 touches, 128 yards. He got 17 touches and 66 yards. Arizona was smacking Dobbins in the mouth all game long. Game script, Justin Herbert throwing the rock like he's vintage. Justin Herbert with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Vintage. That's right, man. J.K. Dobbins ends up 8.1 fantasy points, number 29 on the running back list this week. That is not top 20. I missed. Womp, 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 womp. Number 1 on my road to destruction in week 7. Number 2, I said you must start Baker Mayfield. I was right. Shit, something went right for me this week. Baker Mayfield, I have forecasted 337 yards, 3 TDs, and a pick. I said he would get 23.5 fantasy points. That man said, hold my beer. Threw up 370 through the air. 3 TDs, a 2-point conversion, 2 picks, 5 carries for 22 yards, was the number 2 overall quarterback in fantasy scoring in week 7. Give it up for Baker. That's right, man. 29 fantasy points. Man, it was a hit. I was lit. Baker put Baltimore's secondary in the oven. Ooh. Bake 'em, bake 'em, bake 'em, Baker. Our number 3 receiver, I said you must get in your lineups, Jordan Addison. Now, I actually hit on this one. To hit and be correct, On a top 5 start with a receiver, they must finish in the top 30. Jordan Addison finishes number 29. 4 targets, 3 receptions for 66 yards. This week was a week for running backs. If you have receivers, Jordan Addison gets number 29 and finishes in the top 30 with 8.1 fantasy points. Hey, man, in my opinion, I lost on that one. But in the opinion of statistics and how we do on this show, I hit Jordan Addison. I had him down for 9 targets, 7 receptions, 104 yards, and a TD. He was a shell of that. Didn't even get half that amount of points. Hey, man, it is what it is. Demario Douglas was my number 4 receiver. Man, listen, I don't know what was going on this week. Not only did I do terrible on these picks, but I did terrible on my fantasy leagues. I had Demario Douglas fired up. He goes in the game, and in the first quarter, you say I'm sick? He's not the only player that did that. A player in San Francisco did it too. You might have heard of Deebo Samuels. What is going on? If y'all wasn't going to play, just don't play. But don't say I'm going to play. Have your team check you out and say he's good to go. Run 2-3 plays and then just walk to the sideline. Man, I don't know what the hell was going on in week 7, but we had like 4 or 5 players say I'm sick and I quit this week. Man, I hope they quit on that damn paycheck. What the hell's going on? Demario Douglas, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 14 yards, ends up number 75 overall in fantasy scoring with 2.4 fantasy points. Exits in the first quarter with sickness. What type of shit is that? Man. Woosah. I got to call my psychiatrist. I got to do something before I jump off this damn bridge. Najee Harris was my number 5, and boy, did Najee come through for me this week. Najee Harris, I said, would have 20 touches, 117 yards, and a tug, good for 19.7 fantasy points. He ended up number 15 overall this week with similar statistics. 21 carries, 102 yards, and a tutty. He was bulldozing over Jets linebackers like they was DBs. That's right. Najee did his thing against those New York Jets. Hey, shouts out to Najee and them Steelers and letting Russ cook. Yeah. Those are our top 5 starts we had. I hit 3 out of 5, which is pretty good. But boy, on these sits, we about to go over. Oh my God. Did I get cooked this weekend? Cooked. Our number 1 running back that I said you must bench. This guy had the longest streak in the NFL history on catches by a running back without a score. And what does he do? Hot soup, hold my beer. Josh Jacobs gets a receiving touchdown and breaks an NFL streak on my head. 17 touches, 92 yards, and a touchdown. Ends up 14th overall in fantasy scoring for running backs with 17.7 points. That man was number 14 with 92 yards and a tutty. When I tell you them running backs had a day this weekend, them running backs was running. For anybody who went out and drafted a hero strategy for running backs, meaning your first 3 picks was RBs, more than likely you won your week in week 7. George Pickens. Oh my God. I was not willing to start George Pickens this week because I had him in 2 leagues and I benched him in both. I'm sorry. I got him in 3 and I benched him in all 3. And boy, was I wrong. I didn't want to wait and see how Russ was going to play. I didn't want to bet my week 7 on it, but I should have. And you should have too. George Pickens. Fuck. George Pickens, I have forecasted 10 targets. I knew he was going to get the targets, but how accurate is a Russell Wilson that hasn't even played a game this year going to be? Accurate as hell. 10 targets, 5 receptions for 48 yards. What I had that man forecasted for, that man was Megatron. That's right. He looked like Megatron against New York Jets. No fly zone. He was saucing Sauce Gardner this week. George Pickens had 9 targets, 5 receptions, 111 yards, and a TD. Finished number 3 overall in fantasy scoring for wide receivers with 19.6 points. Oh my God. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. I'm feeling like I need a body cleanse, man. I feel like it's a bunch of negative energy going on inside me. When I get done with this show, I'm getting on that treadmill. I'm running 3 miles today. When I'm done with that, I'm going to go lift some weights. Yeah. I got to lift some weights, man. I got to do something. It's so much inside I need to let out right now. I can't stand this. Y'all all in my inbox, in my comments, y'all make Hot Soup want to quit. But I ain't no quitter. Hell no. I got tough skin. Y'all gonna check me out for them top 5 starts, top 5 sits in week 8. Yeah. Our number 3 player that I said you must bench, and he proved me wrong late last night. And oh my God, I was going against him in like 4 or 5 leagues, and he came back and he whooped my ass. Kyler Murray. He was having a terrible game all into the 4th quarter and decides to explode. Kyler Murray dips for a 50-plus yard touchdown on the ground, and that's what killed me. He was playing like horse shit. Kyler Murray, my forecast was 201 yards, a TD, an interception, and a fumble loss. That 50-yard run sprung him into a category that I did not think he was going to hit this week. Kyler Murray, 145 yards through the air. I knew that. I told you so. 1 TD and 1 pick. I told you so. 6 carries for 64 yards and a tutty. Oh, that hurt. That hurt. That took him out of the top. That took him from the bottom of the top 20 to number 5 overall. That's right. Number 5 overall. 21.2 fantasy points for Kyler Murray. He had a day, and I had another miss in my top 5 sits. 3 in a row. Well, shit, let's just make it 4 in a row. Jahmyr Gibbs. Listen, man, I did not see the game script going like that. I thought it was going to be like it's been going. David Montgomery gets the goal line carries. David Montgomery gets all the work, right? Not all the work, but most of the work. Nah, man. David Montgomery gets injured. As soon as he gets injured, man, 30 fantasy points from Jahmyr Gibbs. He was looking like the best running back in the league. And I'm sitting there throwing up on myself because I benched him. When I'm telling y'all to bench him, I'm benching him. I'm not telling y'all go out here and bench somebody and I'm starting them. No. Hot Soup follows the script. And is why I did so damn terrible this week. Good thing is, the league that I benched Jahmyr Gibbs in, I got him in 3 or 4. I benched him in 3, had to play him in another because I had no choice. I won in 2 of those leagues I benched him in, so it wasn't too bad. And shit, good Lord, I'm glad he's on my roster. Switch roles with David Montgomery in week 7. Went off for 19 touches, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, number 1 overall fantasy back, and I told y'all to sit him. I need to go to confessions today, man. I got some shit that's weighing heavy on my soul, and I need to go tell the Lord. Yeah. Too many evil demons going on inside Hot Soup right now, man. I've been lucky as hell for the last 4 or 5 weeks. I'm talking about beyond lucky, man. I can't come crashing down like this. I got to stay positive. I don't know what to do. I'm going to go crazy. Ah. And our number 5 pick that I said you must sit. Let's get a moment of silence for Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk tore his ACL. I don't even want to call this a hit, man. This is a miss for the whole league, for everybody in fantasy, for everybody in regular football, his family. Man, we got to send shots out, man, and prayers up for Brandon Aiyuk that he can heal well and get back to playing football like he used to. This week, Brandon Aiyuk, 6 targets, 2 receptions, 23 yards, 3.3 fantasy points, ends up number 65 overall receiver. I told you to bench him. but this is not why. Probably tore his ACL, looked at nasty. Let's pray for his recovery. Again, moment of silence. I hit on 1 out of 5 in our sits, 3 out of 5. The worst week I've had this year in calling picks. I'm going to forget week 7. This is your boy Hot Soup, and I'm chiming out from the clown show. Yeah. I hate fantasy, man. I hate it in week 7. I love it, but I hate it. It's a relationship. I don't want to be with you no more. Love it, though, man. I love it, man. I got to get back on it. Week 8, man. We're going to forget about week 7. That's what all my friends told me, man. They said, forget about it, Mac. Don't let it ruin your juju, baby. I'm back, baby. I'm back. I'm back. Like I never left.